Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you for joining. So we will be chanting the 108 names of Lord Narsimha to pray for the recovery of His Holiness Bhakti Charsai Maharaj and also our dear Ashwin. So we'll chant the Narsingh Pranam mantra 3 times and then we will start the 108 names of Lord Narsimha and we'll also do the Narsimha Arati. Shri Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai Narsimha, Praladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narshingam Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Mrityum Namamiham. Shri Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai Narsimha, Praladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narshingam Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Mrityu Namamiham. Shri Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai Narsimha, Praladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham, Narshingam Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Mrityu Namamiham. The 108 names of Lord Narsimha Dev. Om Narsimhaya Namaha, Om Mahasimhaya Namaha, Om Divyasimhaya Namaha, Om Mahabalaya Namaha, Om Ugrasimhaya Namaha, Om Mahadevaya Namaha, Om Stambhajaya Namaha, Om Ugralochanaya Namaha, Om Rudraya Namaha, Om Sarvadbhutaya Namaha, Om Shrimanaya Namaha, Om Yoganandaya Namaha, Om Trivikramaya Namaha, Om Harine Namaha, Om Kolahalaya Namaha, Om Chakrine Namaha, Om Vijayaya Namaha, Om Jayavardhanaya Namaha, Om Panchahananaya Namaha, Om Param Brahmaya Namaha, Om Aghoraya Namaha, Om Ghora Vikramaya Namaha, Om Jwalanmukhaya Namaha, Om Jwala Maline Namaha, Om Mahajwalaya Namaha, Om Mahaprabhuhaya Namaha, Om Niti Lakshaya Namaha, Om Sahasrakshaya Namaha, Om Durnikshaya Namaha, Om Pratapannaya Namaha, Om Mahadamshtraya Namaha, Om Yuddha Pragyaya Namaha, Om Chandakopine Namaha, Om Sad Shivaya Namaha, Om Hiranyakashipu Dhvamsine Namaha, Om Daityadhanava Bhanjanaya Namaha, Om Gunabhadraya Namaha, Om Mahabhadraya Namaha, Om Balabhadraya Namaha, Om Subhadrakaya Namaha, Om Karalaya Namaha, Om Vikaralaya Namaha, Om Vikarataya Namaha, Om Sarvakartikaya Namaha, Om Shashumaraya Namaha, Om Trilokatmaya Namaha, Om Ishaya Namaha, Om Sarveshwaraya Namaha, Om Vibhuvaya Namaha, Om Bhairavadambaraya Namaha, Om Divyaya Namaha, Om Achyutaya Namaha, Om Kavine Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, Om Adhokshajaya Namaha, Om Aksharaya Namaha, Om Sarvaya Namaha, Om Vanamaline Namaha, Om Varapradaya Namaha, Om Vishwambharaya Namaha, Om Adbhutaya Namaha, Om Bhavyaya Namaha, Om Shri Vishnave Namaha, Om Purushottamaya Namaha, Om Anagastra Namaha, Om Nakhastraya Namaha, Om Surya Jyotine Namaha, Om Sureshwaraya Namaha, Om Sahasrabahuaya Namaha, Om Sarvagyaya Namaha, Om Sarvasiddhipradayakaya Namaha, Om Vajradamstraya Namaha, Om Vajranakhaya Namaha, Om Mahanandaya Namaha, Om Paramtapaya Namaha, Om Sarvamantraikarupa Namaha, Om Sarvayantra Vidaramaya Namaha, Om Sarvatantratmakaya Namaha, Om Avyaktaya Namaha, Om Suvyaktaya Namaha, Om Bhaktavatsala Namaha, Om Vaishakha Shukla Bhut Uthaya Namaha, Om Sharangata Vatsalaya Namaha, Om Udara Kirtine Namaha, Om Punyatmaya Namaha, Om Mahatmaya Namaha, Om Chandra Vikramaya Namaha, Om Vedaratyaya Namaha, Om Prapujyaya Namaha, Om Bhagavannaya Namaha, Om Parameshwaraya Namaha, Om Shri Vatsam Kaya Namaha, Om Jagat Vyapine Namaha, Om Jaganmaya Namaha, Om Jagatpalaya Namaha, Om Jagannathaya Namaha, Om Mahakhagaya Namaha, Om Dvirupa Bhrittaya Namaha, Om Paramatmaya Namaha, Om Paramajyotine Namaha, Om Nirgunaya Namaha, Om Nrikeshirine Namaha, Om Paratatvaya Namaha, Om Paramdhamaya Namaha, Om Satchidananda Vigraya Namaha, Om Lakshmi Narsimhaya Namaha, Om Sarvatmaya Namaha, Om Chiraya, Om Dhiraya Namaha, Namaste Narasimhaya, Praladadayini, Hiranyakashipurvakshaha, Shilatankanakalaye, Ito Narsingha, Parato Narsingha, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsingha, Bahi Narsimha, Hridaye Narsimha, Narasingamadim Sharanam Prapadye, Tavakara Kamalavari Nakham, Adbhuta Shringam Dalita, Hiranyakashipu Tanubhringam, Keshavadhrita Narahari Rupa, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Jagadish Hare, Jaya Narsinghadev, 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 Jaya Narsinghadev, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. So we'll chant this mantra 5 times. Shri Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai Narsimha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvato Mukham Narshingam Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Mrityum Damamiham. Shri Narsimha, Jai Narsimha, Jai Jai Narsimha, Prahladesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma Bhringa, Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Namamiham. Shri Narsimha Jai Narsimha Jaya Jaya Narsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhringa Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Namamiham. Shri Narsimha Jaya Jaya Narsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhringa Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Namamiham. Shri Narsimha Jaya Jaya Narsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhringa Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Namamiham. Shri Narsimha Jaya Jaya Narsimha Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bhringa Ugram Viram Mahavishnu Jwalantam Sarvatomukham Narsingham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrityur Namamiham. Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagwan ki Jai, Bhakti Shromani Prahlad Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. From the core of our hearts, let's pray for Srila Bhakti Charaswami Maharaj, for the dear Lord Nrsimhadev, as you are placing your lotus hand upon this dear Prahlad, who is very, very dear to you. Similarly, your dear devotee, Srila Bhakti Charaswami Maharaj, is in very difficult health situation in the intensive care unit, and he certainly needs some divine intervention so that he can come back to normal health. If you so desire, kindly place your beloved lotus hand upon your beloved child so that he can very quickly restore to normal health and shower his devotional presence with the whole world. O Lord, if you so desire, kindly shower mercy upon him so that we can continue to have his wonderful association through Vani and Vapu. And also our dear congregation member, Ashwin, is also in the intensive care unit. He is very young, only 15, around 15 years of age. Lord, we kindly request you to please intervene in his situation if you so desire. It has been over a week since he is in the hospital without consciousness. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for your prayers and support, and certainly when we pray together, it has a very special, and the power of congregating together is certainly very, very potent. So thank you so much for taking out your time and praying intensely for Srimad Bhakti Maharaj. So now we will begin our regular study of Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. I offer, before reciting Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad-Bhagvatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankajanaභaya Namo Pankajamaline Namo Pankajanitraya Namaste Pankajangri. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam Adyaiva me Vishatu Manasa Rajahansa Prana Prayana Samaye Kafavata Pittai Kantavarodana Vidhau Smaranam Kutaste. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for joining. We are reading Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 10. We read till text 7 yesterday, and we were discussing that about the ahetuki bhakti, bhakti without, which is free from any adulteration, which is free from adulteration of jnana, karma, etc., desires for fruitive enjoyment. That's what Prahlad Maharaj is recommending. So let's study the next verse, text number 8. And if you have not read throughout the last 4 days any verse or any, text, etc., and you would like to read, please raise your hands. Don't feel shy, don't feel over humble. So if you would like to read, please raise your hand, because it's kind of very difficult for me to remember who has read and who is in a position to read. So you'll have to come forward and communicate that. Text number 8. Indriyani mana prana atma dharmo dhritir matihi hrishri steja smriti satyam yasya nashyanti janmana. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. O my Lord, because of lusty desires, from the very beginning of one's birth, the function of one's senses, mind, life, body, religion, patience, intelligence, shyness, opulence, strength, memory, and truthfulness are vanquished. Hare Krishna. Purport. As stated in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Kamam Hridi Rogam. Materialistic life means that one is afflicted by a formidable disease called lusty desire. Liberation means freedom from lusty desires, because it is only due to such desires that one must accept repeated birth and death. As long as one's lusty desires are unfulfilled, one must take birth after birth to fulfill them. Because of material desires, therefore, one performs various types of activities and receives various types of bodies with which to try to fulfill desires that are never satisfied. The only remedy is to take to devotional service, which begins when one is free from all the desires. Anya bilashita shunyam. Anya bilashita means material desire, and shunyam means free from. The spiritual soul has spiritual activities and spiritual desires, as described by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhaktir ahetuki tvai. Unalloyed devotion to the service of the Lord is the only spiritual desire. To fulfill this spiritual desire, however, one must be free from all material desires. Desirelessness means freedom from material desires. This is described by Srila Rupa Goswami as Anya Bilashita Shunyam. As soon as one has material desires, one loses his spiritual identity. Then all the paraphernalia of one's life, including one's senses, body, religion, patience, and intelligence, are deviated from one's original Krishna consciousness. As soon as one has material desires, one cannot properly use his senses, intelligence, mind, and so on for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mayavadi philosophers want to become impersonal, senseless, and mindless, but that is not possible. The living entity must be living, always existing with desires, ambitions, and so on. These should be purified. However, so that one can desire spiritually and be spiritually ambitious without material contamination. In every living entity, these propensities exist because he is a living entity. When materially contaminated, however, one is put into the hands of the material energy, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. If one wants to stop repeated birth and death, one must take to devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. Bhakti or devotional service means engaging all our senses in the service of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all the senses. When the spirit soul renders service unto the Supreme Lord, there are two side effects. One is free from all material designations, and simply by being employed in the service of the Lord, one's senses are purified. Hare Krishna, such a beautiful verse, which Prahlad Maharaj is speaking. Again, the essence is Anya Bilashita Shunyam. But if one does not engage the anything given by the Supreme Lord, whether it is the bodily strength, whether it is senses, intelligence, wealth, memory, if one engages in one's own senses or serving the lusty desires, then everything is destroyed. And the famous example coming to my mind is Ajamil. Ajamil was a very, very cultured Brahmana. Very, very divine qualities he had. Patience, tolerance, respect, obedience, everything. But as soon as he started to serve his lusty desires and associate with that prostitute, of course, it's a lesson for us. The Lord is arranging these as a lesson for us. As soon as he started to associate with the prostitute and started to contemplate on those lusty desires and gave up the true desires, we cannot be desireless. Prabhupada is making a point, because we are living beings. Living being means activity. Living being means ambition. So either we can have good ambitions, spiritual ambitions, as Lord Chaitanya is speaking, spiritual desires, or we can have bad ambitions, which are to fulfill my lusty passions and desires. So we cannot be ambitionless. So spiritual ambition means asking for service, asking more service. And that's what we do while chanting, or desire to go back home, back to Godhead, desire to serve Vaishnavas, desire to outreach, desire to sing kirtan, desire. All these are spiritual desires if done in the right consciousness. But Ajamil gave up all that good culture, that good pious credits he had accumulated, and started serving his lusty desires. As a result, he lost his wealth, he lost his good qualities, he lost his intelligence, he lost his memory. Smriti Vibrama Buddhi Nasha Pranashati. It all starts with lusty desires. Dhyayato Vishayan Punsa Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, towards the end, 64th verse, I believe 63, 64 verse. It all starts with lusty desires, then contemplation, and then intelligence is lost, and mind is bewildered, and then one just falls down. One is vanquished. So, the essence here is that to develop spiritual desires, because that is our true position. And one should be ambitious. It's not that bhakti means, oh, humble, no, I'm good for nothing, I won't do anything, I'll just stay and just, chant my rounds, and that's like somehow. No, there should be ambition, there should be eagerness, utsaha. Ambition is closely related to utsaha, spiritual utsaha, not material ambition, or not ambition for this to get some more recognition, more fame, more power and strength, and ambition for more service. Ambition, how can I do better? How can I serve my spiritual master more? How can I read more attentively? How can I chant more attentively? What can I do to please Prabhupada more? One should always think of on those lines, and that's basically spiritual ambition, without material contamination, without desire for getting more fame, recognition. That should not be our goal. Our goal should be just to please Krishna and his bona fide representatives. In that way, one will be freed from material desires, one will be free, and one's senses and mind and senses will be purified. But if one serves material desires, lusty desires, then whatever good qualities, they will also be ruined. Any other comments, questions anyone has?
Yeah, I have one, one question. So, ambitions, we talk about spiritual ambitions, but at work also there's a lot of, I mean, I don't work anymore, so, but when I used to work, there used to be a lot of pressure. There's things need to get done. And if you're not ambitious at all, they'll probably trample you down. You take a back seat. So how do you look at all this?
Retire early like you. Just a
What
joke.
is that? I didn't
I
get.
said to retire timely like you have retired.
Well, I've been through that. So now I'm looking back. I'm doing it for the benefit of others.
Nice, nice. Looks like Bhadra Prabhu wants to speak. Prabhu, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. Dandvat. Let me go through this shloka in a short. Then we can talk about his question answer. Is that okay? So, I was reading today, going through the previous chapter of the Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj, little boy, the whole he's describes, this is Bhagavad Dharma. This is highest. And he's talking to the young boys here. He was talking to the young boys, Gurukuli boys, to him, demon, son of the demons. He's talking the highest thing here. So we all are everybody is a spirit soul, doesn't matter who they are. And everything belongs, everything is the energy of the Lord, everything. So that means we are also his energy. That means I have to engage my energy in the service of the Lord. And same way, I have to see other living entity also as a spirit soul. And that's where the problem arises. Because of my desire, lusty desires, this is like for man for the woman, woman for the man. Because of that lusty desires, we desire to enjoy. What is the lusty mean? Lusty means enjoy separate from the Lord. That was lust is. It's a prem when we now service of the Lord, which is a prema. But here is the service for my own, for desire for my own sense gratification. So that is lust. And because of that, not come to that realization of the seeing every living entity as a part and parcel of the Lord, and see as they are the energy. Like this morning, you had sent a nice, someone has sent a nice, and it was good. I saw in the morning and I opened my eyes. Prabhupada said that if you see the lady's breast, and this is someone has said, armpits, you are fallen. And that was like, the strong statement Srila Prabhupada made. But Srila Prabhupada was telling completely openly, it is like that in the material world, So And it applies both for man, for the woman, woman for the man. And lust is many different ways. This is not just the opposite sex attraction. It's just a desire to enjoy myself for sense gratification. So we by the Kṛṣṇa consciousness, we are again engaging our senses. And here Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is writing in the just 2 sentences. He says that when by the appearance of these desires, the senses are vanquished. What is this means? This means the senses go astray and cannot experience your sweetness. When we talk about that, I want to have an enjoy. We say the spirit soul is blissful. So the question, I'm sorry I'm taking so much time because this verse is very important verse for the life. When we talk about the bliss, we said the spirit soul is Ananda, Chin, Ananda, right? Bliss. But where is this bliss? What is bliss? I'm thinking I'm enjoying here in the material world and that is bliss. No, the sense, because I'm engaged in the sense gratification for enjoying my senses. So that's why, as you mentioned and as you mentioned is also you quoted nicely the 2nd chapter of Bhagavata, the Kama Esha Krodha Rajaguna Samodbhava and then so sloka. So because of that, not engaging in the service of the Lord, because that's what living entity meant to do it. And because of that, he loses his senses. That's why we don't get a bliss. Because we meant to get a bliss by serving the Lord. Now coming to the point, Prabhu's, Raghu Prabhu's point, yeah, ambition has to be there. Without everybody wants to have everybody has some ambition in the life to do something. So in the spiritual life also there is ambition is there, and it is nice to have ambition. And that is one of the, to keep up in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And this is one of the important points. To keep up in Kṛṣṇa consciousness, one have to go out of your way to serve Kṛṣṇa. What it means that we have to take a risk to serve Kṛṣṇa. Then Kṛṣṇa will see that, and we will that will keep us in devotional service. Srila Prabhupada took that risk, coming here at the age of 70 in this country. And he was able to do that, and he took that risk. But of course, he had a faith in the Guru and the Hare Krishna mantra. He had a faith in that. He was able to do that. So devotee need that ambition. Of course, we don't do our ambition on our own, the way I want to do it, I will do it. No, we go through our spiritual master, our authorities, and mention what do you think? This is ambition I have. This desire I have in the service of the Lord. Should I do it? What do you think? It's with your blessings. You say. So that is, I mean, in my case, I mean, I'm not putting myself higher, but to do Rath Yatras, I had to ask the authorities. I had to ask my spiritual masters. Should I do it? Please give me blessings. Give me your mercy. And they say, please go ahead and do it. And that gives the power. That gives the, things to do. So, yeah, ambition has to be there. Otherwise, that's why Kṛṣṇa consciousness is a movement. Keep moving, means do ambitiously, do something to please. Srila Prabhupada said, you American boys and girls, you supposed to do the best thing. You are known to be the powerful country in the world, you say. So yeah, we meant to, as a devotees, we meant to do. Srila Prabhupada is more happy when do something more than he did. Of course, we cannot compare ourselves with him, but the whole point is that he is more happy when do something great. He's more pleased with that. I hope that answer. Sorry taking so much time, but I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, well, sort of. But my question is more related to, someone working in a corporate world, as many of the people over here, devotees over here are, because not everyone is at ISKCON. There are people going to work every day and coming. So how do you treat the ambition at work, the material ambition, that the challenges are going to come, you just can't ignore it.
Yes.
So that's
Well, in in the material world, we know that when we are working for something, someone, or let's say I have a business, then I have to ambition to make money in that business, isn't it? And I have to do that. But if my understanding is that if by working in that business, I'm going to use my fruit of activities for the service of the Lord, then it's okay. You see. So in the material world, yes, when we are working for someone, and this boss is saying that this is the ambition, you will have to this we have to reach at this goal, he says, isn't it? So we'll have to do it, isn't it? Because otherwise I'm not going to pay the salary, otherwise he'll fire me. A simple thing, isn't it? So that is part of the, we all do that. But ultimately, as a devotee, we understand that that is not my ultimately high, that is not my ultimate goal in my life. I hope that
Yes, thank you.
clarify.
Thank you, brother.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Sundari Priya Mataji, you want to share your thoughts on this question?
I think Prabir Prabhu was going to say something.
Oh, Prabir Prabhu. Sorry.
No. Oh, okay. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam, everybody. I just want to share a few things. What I learned from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj's lecture. One lecture, Maharaj was saying that when we go to material world working, we have to give our 100%. But Maharaj was, as Bhadra Prabhu mentioned slightly in one, that first we have to think about that every living entity is this spirit soul. And what does it mean that when we go, we have to do our part, 100% do our part. But our main intention, as Bhadra Prabhu was mentioning, that fruit is going to be we have to use for the service of Krishna, service of his devotees. But the other part, that when we go to the material world, and any job we do, there is a chances of enviousness, trying to put someone down so that we can get there. But as we learn from so many things, everything has been allotted by Krishna. That how much I am going to get money, or what happened to me if something, like, just giving you an example, if someone say bad to me. So we learned from Bhagavatam that instead of doing like repercussion, we can say that I am entitled to get that if anything bad happens to me. So that practice we learned from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, that as so many times we heard from Prabhuji also, that if anything bad happens to me, it is not some other people's fault. It is, I am entitled to get that. So keeping that kind of intention in our mind, it helps us actually in material world when we go for. So what I want to say that we learn from that we have to give our part, but we don't, same thing, we don't envy about anybody. If someone is making more money than me, seeing more patient than me, maybe that is he's assigned, he's entitled to get that, and I'm not entitled to get that much money. So accept it and just be peaceful and just join in Krishna's service and his devotees' service. Hare Krishna Prabhu, back to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. You want to speak something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam, all glory, Srila Prabhupada. So same thing on the same point on like Raghu Prabhu's question, and thank you to Brother Prabhu and Prabir Prabhu. We see in the corporate world, there is mode of passion definitely is at the highest. Who gets the highest job, who gets to kick either. So I think we as devotees have to be there and not be there. But still, I think in the long run, when we see even in corporations, in the the good values do sustain for a longer time than temporary passion of getting getting ahead of somebody in a competitive way. People always look at somebody who is quietly doing under, he's not in the radar, but somehow swiftly, like a tortoise, is keep running and can always be steady. I think most of the people admire such kind of people, and then they look back and see, why is this person so consistent in their delivery? Is because then they realize that something, they are spiritual, and then they start seeing the inner values of that person. And I think so slowly that gets recognized. And I think if we surround ourselves, even in workplace, with people who magnify the same value, then slowly we'll see that the achievement is only to make other people look better. And when we glorify them, same principles as Bhagavatam's principle, when we glorify them, their glory becomes our glory. Instead of becoming lording over their glories, we start glorifying them, and we realize that is universally accepted, especially during this COVID time. And managers have a hard time finding out who to let go and who to keep. And those who have always been there as a backbone for the company with good values are still there, instead of somebody who just wanted more money for achievements and leadership and blah, blah, blah. So I think same principles, when we see all the kings of the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam had the same thing. Prithu Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj, they didn't give up. Even if there was an enemy, a demon against them at battle, they still persistently prayed for the Lord. And I think when we imbibe that, even if whether you are open in your workplace about Krishna consciousness or not, but when we glorify others and see that the goodness is coming from the Lord, then I think that reflects on our work ethic as well. So that's my limited understanding of that. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. I think all wonderful points, all of you. Thank you very much.
Kṛṣṇa Prabhuji, I just want to add one more point. Another way to look at it is, as devotees, we are like Krishna's warriors. So when there are others who are competing with us, who are drunkards, who are chasing opposite sex, who are outside work, they're living another life. So when we represent Guru and Krishna, we should try our best in what we do, so that we are an example for everybody. So they shouldn't see our Krishna consciousness as a weakness. So if we fight the good fight for thinking that we want to make Krishna's name and fame better, and we want to be the best in what we can be, I think there is no stopping a devotee.
Thank you. Very nice. And I shared an article from Harvard Business Review. This is not some ISKCON magazine or Dandavats or Hare Krishna journal. This is Harvard Business Review, and they are saying how humble leaders are the best leaders, how humility plays a great role. And nowadays, this is a very new term, servant leadership, which they talk about in the management a lot. Well, servant leadership was the root of Vedic culture. That the leader is the servant and treating their subordinates as their own children. So all these good values certainly will not go in vain. And it's not that we don't have to be ambitious. We have to do our dutiful, as Prabir Prabhu said and all the devotees said. But over-ambitious, thinking that, my hard work, this, that, I will do it, prove it, this, that. Then we are thinking, I am the doer. We forget the Krishna behind. We have to do our dutiful endeavor and nicely balance, keeping the right consciousness. Very nice. Okay, let's move on to the next verse. Who has not read for this week would like to read? Anyone who has not read and is interested to read? So no one is raising their hand. That means either you have read or you don't want to read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I can read.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam, everyone. Text 9. Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi sthitan tarhi eva pundarikaksha bhagavatavya kalpate. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. Purport. Atheistic men sometimes criticize a devotee by saying, if you do not want to take any benediction from the Lord, and if the servant of the Lord is as opulent as the Lord himself, why do you ask for the benediction of being engaged as the Lord's servant? Sridhara Swami comments, Bhagvata vya Bhagavat saman aishwaryaya Bhagavatva becoming as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead does not mean becoming one with him or equal to him. Although in the spiritual world, the servant is equally as opulent as the master. The servant of the Lord is engaged in the service of the Lord as a servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover, all of whom are equally as opulent as the Lord. This is Achintya Bheda Bheda Tattva. The master and servant are different yet equal in opulence. This is the meaning of simultaneously difference from the Supreme Lord and oneness with him. So in this verse, we see how a devotee becomes eligible for material and spiritual benedictions. And we know from the experience of Sudama Vipra how he was so humble and all he wanted was to please Kṛṣṇa. And he just went to Kṛṣṇa and without any possessions, even borrowed the chipped rice, and that was all he had to give. And when Kṛṣṇa ate 2 handfuls of chipped rice, his opulence became as much as Kṛṣṇa. So that's because the Lord wants to serve his pure devotees and make them comfortable and allow them to even improve better in their spiritual life. So the Lord will give everything that is favorable for the devotee's progress. And even if that means giving that person as much or more opulence than him, so he will do that. We see in Mahabharata, Arjuna got more accolades for valor than Kṛṣṇa himself. We see that Yudhishthira became the king of the whole planet. Kṛṣṇa was not when he was in the material world. So he likes to glorify his devotees. He gives his opulence to the devotee. If we take the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he did spread the Harinam throughout India, but he gave the benediction to Prabhupada to actually spread it all over the world. So we see here how when the Lord is, when the devotee is totally surrendered to the Lord, he makes the devotee do amazing things that he himself will not do because he wants to glorify his devotee. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Thank you. That's true so much. There's a very nice story in this connection. There was a king once upon a time, and the king said, okay, anyone can come and I'll give whatever you desire. Okay. A lot of people came to ask for things. Some said, oh, I want 10 gold coins. Some said, oh, I want 5 gold coins. Some said, oh, I want a house. Some said, oh, I want a car, or I want a new chariot or something. Pretty much asking material desires. Or some said, I want some land. King said, okay, so be it, so be it, so be it, so be it. And finally, an old woman came and said, King, I want to be your mother. And now, King had not heard that. Because to be a mother means that she will get everything else. Now, because the king is living in the royal palace, the mother cannot live in a poor hut. If the king is eating nice food stuff, the mother cannot eat, just some dry leaves. If the king is dressed nicely, the mother cannot be in just some old, ugly, dirty robes. So that means the master takes care of the servant as good, a true master, not a pseudo master, which we read before, the difference between a true master and a so-called master. A true master will not allow his servant to be in difficulty. Like a true, like a parent, like a mother or a father. They will first feed the child and then they will eat. They will first buy clothes for the children and then they'll get clothes. They will first dress the children nicely and then they will, always prioritizing their servant or their dependent. Similarly, a devotee is dependent on the Lord. Krishna, I am yours. And Krishna is like a true master. He will not let his devotee be ignored or okay, I don't care. He loves his children more than the love of millions of mothers put together. So how can such a loving mother let the child suffer? Never. So in that way, that lady got everything. One who develops a relation with the Lord, as one who develops a true service attitude towards the Lord, that person gets everything else. So one should be intelligent what to ask for. Not ask for just temporary things. 5 gold coins, they will be gone in few days, few months. A piece of land will be gone in some time. But to develop eternal relation with the Lord, that is eternal. Bhakti, Bhagavan and Bhakta, and anything associated with that. Thank you so much. Anyone else before we move to the next verse?
Prabhuji, I have a question. So we usually see that the different relationship is Sakyam, Dasyam. Sorry. So it is Dasyam, Vatsalyam, and I'm blanking out on the
Shante, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya.
Madhurya. So how come the relationship between a brother and a sister and a parent's love for, so we know Pradyumna is the son of Kṛṣṇa, so their relationship, so Pradyumna's relationship with Kṛṣṇa and maybe Balram or Subhadraji's relationship with Kṛṣṇa, how come those relationships are not called out in the different type of relationships?
Well, Balram's relationship is often called out. He's said to be that he is serving Krishna in multiple rasas. He would play with Krishna.
Yes, probably not Balram. Just like I'm talking about the different relationship, right? So we know Shantya, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. But how come brotherly love to Krishna and loving Krishna as a parent is not in this list?
The father, it says the father, that's parent. And brother is what? Brother is sometimes, if the elder brother is also said to be like a father, an elder sister is like mother. And sometimes the brother may play the role of a friend. And sometimes may play the role of a father. So,
okay.
So it is there. And sometimes the brother may play the role of. Now you say, oh, what about teacher of Krishna? The teacher's role is not there. What about uncle of Krishna? What about, Kunti Maharani? She is also said to be in the Vatsalya Rasa, like a parent. But that parental relationship also has multiple degrees. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you very much. Usually, Vatsalya is seeing Krishna as our child, but nowhere we see that liking Krishna as our parent, as one of the rasas.
That's more in the Dasa category. You are my master, I am your servant.
Got it, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu wants to share.
Hare Krishna Dandavat. Actually, the four rasas mainly is expressed in Vrindavan. It is the other, like as Banshivilas Prabhu was saying, Pradyumna there actually is in Dwaraka. As Prabhupada here mentioned one line, the servant of the Lord is engaged in the service of the Lord as a servant, or before that line. Although in the spiritual world, the servant is equally as opulent as the master. So we can see that in the Vaikuntha, like some of them have Sharippa, they are serving the Lord, but the same look like Lord Narayan. So these four rasas are mainly in Vrindavan, which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. The other, these rasas are not talking about, even though that is there, but not in Dwaraka or Mathura. Back to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, let's read one more verse. Nikant Prabhu, you wanted to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Purushaya Mahatmane Hare Adbhuta Simhaya Brahmane Paratmane. Translation and purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O my Lord, full of six opulences, O Supreme Person, O Supreme Soul, Killer of all miseries, O Supreme Person in the form of a wonderful lion and man, let me offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. In the previous verse, Prahlad Maharaj has explained that a devotee can achieve the platform of Bhagavatva, being as good as Supreme Person. But this does not mean that the devotee loses his position as a servant, a pure servant of the Lord. Although as opulent as the Lord, is still meant to offer respectful obeisances to the Lord in service. Prahlada Maharaja was engaged in pacifying the Lord, and therefore he did not consider himself equal to the Lord. He defined his position as a servant and offered respectful obeisances unto the Lord. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So he's offering wonderful prayers and obeisance again. The Lord Bhagavan, the possessor of six opulences, is mentioned here, and we have discussed multiple times. One who is unlimited wealth, unlimited knowledge, unlimited beauty, strength, fame. And in spite of having all that, he's fully renounced. So renunciation is the sixth one. In the material world, even if one has one or two things, not too unlimited, even if like little more than average, one feels, oh, I'm very beautiful, oh, I have a lot of wealth, oh, I have a lot of fame or power. So renunciation just goes out of the picture and just pride crushes that person. But Krishna is the source of everything, the source of all wealth, the source of all knowledge, source of all beauty. Still, he is completely renounced. So to that Supreme Lord, Prahlad Maharaj is offering his wonderful obeisance. And the point here is mentioned, which we discussed a few days back as well, that the devotee does not lose his position as a servant, because whether it is Krishna's gopis as in the Madhurya Rasa, or Krishna's parents in the Vatsalya Rasa, or Krishna's friend in the Sakhya Rasa, any rasa, the lower rasas are kind of built into that. Everyone has one objective, to serve Krishna, to please Krishna. And sometimes that pleasing could be being sulky with Krishna in the Madhurya Rasa. Sometimes that pleasing could be, spilling his jutha on Krishna as a Sakhya, like how Madhumangal spilled his the buttermilk from his own mouth. That gives pleasure to Krishna, because the whole goal is how to give pleasure to the Supreme Lord. Sometimes that could be to chastise, as a parent is chastising, as Nanda Maharaj or Yashoda Mata is running after Krishna. The whole goal is to serve, to give joy to the Supreme Lord. And the Lord loves it. So it is not a material relation, it is a transcendental relation. And so if we also try our best to serve the Lord and offer these wonderful prayers, this is a very nice verse, Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam. Many words start with this. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmain Yadvecha Chidatmakam. Gajendra's prayers also start with this. Many verses start with this. So, any other comments? Any questions? Okay, it's almost time. Any closing comments or questions before we stop for today? Okay, so tomorrow is Friday and it is a holiday, I believe, for everyone. So it's already posted. His Grace Adhikadar Prabhu will be speaking on Srila Sanatan Goswami, and day after is his disappearance day on 4th of July. So we are very blessed to get a chance to hear from him. So tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Don't miss that. Okay. Thank you so much. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.